Today on the Daily Charge, our first look at the new and improved Galaxy Fold, Impossible Burgers now at a store near you, and WeWork's Wi-Fi is woefully weak.
Good morning and welcome to CNET's Daily Charge. It's Thursday, September 19th.
I'm out. Whoa, shit.
I'm Joni Salzman.
I'm Alfred Inc.
And here are today's stories. WeWork likes to pitch itself as a rising tech giant, but the company apparently isn't so tech savvy to put protections on the Wi-Fi it offers at the offices it rents out to people just looking for a place to work. And that's exposing astronomical amounts of data. Alfred, what's going on here?
So WeWork's Wi-Fi, everyone is on the same Wi-Fi network with the same password that goes on at every building. So if I know the password from one WeWork, I know the password at like the majority of WeWorks in New York City.
So A, not safe.
Really bad. And also, they don't do basic security things on their Wi-Fi network like client isolation. So if I go on the Wi-Fi at a hotel room, right, I can't see what everyone else is doing on that same Wi-Fi if they have like client isolation, which just says I can only see what's on my own like traffic. I can't like peep onto other people's traffic. It's a very basic security measure. Most hotels are doing this. Most places with shared Wi-Fi are doing this. WeWork does not. A company that is valued at $46 billion with more than 500,000 members, working out of there every day with all these startups that have these sensitive documents on their network, does not provide basic security measures like that. They do provide something called a private VLAN, which is similar to it, but it's a little bit more secure. If you want to pay an extra $95 a month and $250 for setup. Even though people already pay like more than $1,000 for rent there, they are not providing wireless security measures. So we've seen a lot of really sensitive documents from these startups. I had seen like bank account passwords, login information, like insurance policies, job applications.
One of the things in your story that really stuck out to me is that it's not only people who work at WeWork and are using their Wi-Fi. It's also people are exposed if they simply unknowingly send something to somebody that's working at a WeWork on the Wi-Fi. Is that right?
Yeah, we had seen companies that had never worked out of a WeWork, but their files were exposed on WeWork's network because they were working with startups that had been at WeWork. I remember calling some of these companies and saying, hey, do you work at a WeWork because your documents are on their network? And they said, no, we've never, we're based out of Connecticut. We've never been in a WeWork.
Right.
And it turns out, hey, they worked with somebody that did. So even if you never set foot in a WeWork, if you're working with somebody that does and doesn't, put on these security measures, your documents are probably exposed on WeWork's network.
So the things that you found, you only got just a tiny snapshot of the possible things that could be exposed. In that snapshot, you saw things that are on the really ridiculous, ridiculous in two different ways. Ridiculous for being silly, and also ridiculous for being I can't believe that that's just out there for people to grab if they know how.
Yeah, one of the photos that I had seen, there was a birthday card with a Photoshop of Nicolas Cage's face on a cat. Pretty harmless to be exposed on the network, but there were other documents there. Like I had mentioned, bank account passwords, job applications, lawsuits were on it because there's law firms based out of that WeWork, a startup law firm, it's just there, and I saw a lawsuit related to it. And I'm oh, that should not be just openly on the network like that.
Right. Well, moving on. You may remember the first round of reviews for Samsung's Galaxy Fold phone didn't go so hot. Some reviewers thought the screen had that little sheet of plastic you're supposed to peel off when you get a new phone. Yeah, that wasn't what it was. It was a protective layer. It was integral to the design, and a bunch of reviewers ruined the nearly $2,000 phone. But the new redesigned Fold is finally out, and there are a few tweaks. What's different?
Unfortunately, the noticeable protective layer is now gone, so I can't break the phone by just peeling it. I think they have more secured seals at the edge of the display now, plastic caps at the 2 points to keep dust out. You really shouldn't have a $2,000 phone that can be defeated by dust. And then the hinge, that gap is a little bit smaller, which I guess is something people might have complained about.
But other than that, I think the phone is the same as it was.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how easily it breaks just by folding it, which you're supposed to do anyway, which is its main feature. Maybe it'll still break. I don't know, but I think there's been better reviews of it this time around. Yeah.
And finally today, the Impossible Burger. It's moving to grocery stores. The fake meat was the buzz of CES this year, and previously it was only available in restaurants. But it may not be at a grocery store near you quite yet. Just 27 Gelson's supermarkets in Southern California will get it starting tomorrow. The company says it'll add more stores on the U.S. East Coast later this month, and it should be available in supermarkets across the U.S. by the middle of next year. So a 12-ounce package will cost $9. What do you think?
I mean, I'd probably buy it, like, just to see how it is. I'd rather get that than, like, go to a
Yeah, me
Burger
too.
King or something that has it.
Yeah,
I
me too.
actually, the Burger King near my house was offering it, and I walked in, and I was hit with this air of, like, fast food just, like, blasting me, and I'm like, I'm good. And I turned around, like, I'm just going to wait to cook this in the comfort of my own home one day.
Right. Yeah. And that's maybe one of the plus sides is that their mission is to replace. It's an ambitious mission, and it's to replace animals as a meat technology by like 2030.
That sounds extremely dystopian when you frame it that way.
They want to get rid of the animals out of the food chain, and if they're going to do that, it can't just be in restaurants. So
Yeah. Also, just eat vegetables. People have been doing that way before this fake meat trend. So I don't understand why everyone's jumping on this now when you can literally just eat vegetables instead.
yeah, the thing is, people don't just like vegetables. People like meat. I don't eat meat, but people like meat, and that's probably why.
Is it health? Like, it's vegetarian, but is it actually healthy?
Yeah. People, I mean, there's debates about that. Like, the Whole Foods CEO made this statement, I think like last month or something, where he's like, for me, it's a highly processed food, and I think that highly processed foods just generally are like less ideal than
Isn't
something
it like
that's
also
not.
incredibly high in sodium, like because it's so processed?
I think there's less sodium in the new burger
Okay.
than there was in the previous one, but you know what? I'll pull it up, and that way we can answer that question in case that's one of the questions you guys have. Some of the stats about what is the like nutrition stats on the new burger, but I guess the idea is that
for people that like
Yeah.
don't want to eat meat but can't give up that taste,
yeah,
just eat a vegetable, guys. It's not that like
eat your broccoli. Anyway, we'll turn now to our live audience to see what questions you guys have about today's headlines. You can sound off here in the comments, or feel free to tweet at us at The Daily Charge on Twitter anytime, day or night, and we'll do our best to follow up and keep the conversation going. But for now, let's take a look at what's on your minds right now. BBG, what's going on?
we gotta pause for the segment graphic.
Well, we worked really hard on these segment graphics, Alfred.
Yeah, I'd show them some respect.
And for the record, I don't care how high the sodium is. Well, my doctor cares how high the sodium is. Salt tastes good. That's why people like the Impossible Burger. But we'll come back.
I mean, why don't you just put a bunch of salt and vegetables then?
I do. All of the above.
It's like it's just annoying to me when people conflate like vegetarian or vegan with like healthy. Like, I could eat Oreos all day.
Well, I mean, like, it's true. It's true that like a well-balanced plant-based diet is healthier than a diet that includes a lot of meat. So like baseline, but like, yeah, there's a lot of vegans that I know, especially when I was in my like 20s, that ate terrible.
Yeah, so it's like I think that if you don't want to eat meat out of like ethical reasons, sure, the Impossible Burger is a great thing to shift to, but I don't think that it's like a healthy alternative to.
If you're going I think that's the point also. They're not pitching it really as a health, maybe they are pitching it as a health conscious sort of thing. They're pitching it more as like a moral consciousness sort of thing.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
To me.
I mean, we all eat like crap. I knew some of my closest vegan friends only ever ate noodles in college, and I was just like, that's
crap?
You're gonna die. Like, I don't care how you look at it, or however you spin it. But we'll come back full circle to Impossible Burger. I want to know more about it. It's something I've wanted to try for a while, so we'll talk about that shortly. But first, let's focus on the WeWork's story. That's clearly something that's going to be affecting a lot of different people, and I'm curious how many of our listeners out there work at a WeWork office. I know we know plenty of people in our own inner circles that are WeWorkers, but if you're out there and whatever your job space is functions out of WeWork, let us know. Let us know what concerns you have, if you had any interactions with the IT department at your office. We're just curious to see what the reach is. In the meantime, Timothy asks, instead of going to WeWork with the findings, why not go directly to their customers? That'll put some pressure to update their security.
Oh no, I did do that.
Oh yeah, you historically are not afraid to call people out on stuff like that.
Yeah, I reached out to companies that work at WeWork and told them, hey, this is going on. Are you going to be changing your behavior or anything like that, or like talking to WeWork about it? Most of them did not respond. And I also know that the security expert who pointed this out to WeWork 4 years ago, had also told people that worked around him like, hey, like the security here is pretty bad, and because they're startups, a part of them's like, I don't know what the hell you're like. They're not like security companies, So there's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Leave me alone. I'm trying to like start my company here, and I'm under a lot of pressure. Who are you, strange person? And
that was fair.
Yeah.
Who are you, strange person?
And I imagine that's kind of what people were thinking when they saw my email as well, saying, hey, this is really bad. Your documents are exposed here, and I just never got a response from them.
Next question coming in says, each of these WeWork customers, do they have their own IT guys to take a look at it? Should their IT escalate the concerns to WeWork corporate?
The ones that do have IT folks that look at the Wi-Fi, like the researcher that I had spoken with, yeah, they did reach out to WeWork, and the response was, it's not that much of an issue. Turns out it very much so is. But you also have to understand that like a lot of WeWorks are startups. They're like, when I was there, the team that I was speaking with was only like 4 people, which already costs a lot of money to be there. I think for if you want an office for one person at the WeWork in New York, it will, like the one that I visited at least in the financial district, it's $720 just for like a desk and like a chair
for a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
So for 2 people, it's like about $1,200. So it's like a lot of money to begin with. So if you're working out of a WeWork office
And you're just 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
You don't got cash to spare.
Yeah, like they don't have their own IT people. WeWork actually does offer IT support for about $125 a day.
Right.
So that's the thing. All these like things for security that should just come with the place, considering how much you're paying for it. They like upcharge that. So, got to get that money somehow.
Well, they do. I mean, one of the things that's happening with WeWork right now, beyond just this Wi-Fi security element, is the company wants to go public, and they're having a hard time doing it. There's a lot of bad press coming about things like this, about not necessarily bad press, but just colorful press about their CEO and how he's unconventional and ways that public companies usually aren't.
Where have I heard this story before? It's almost like it's a pattern repeating of tech CEOs being weird and then just helping the company tank.
Yeah. So there's a lot of cringe moments going on for WeWork right now.
Would you call this security oversight, or is it more a caveat of how WeWork is structured as a company? I know, like, on paper, it's a very attractive outside of maybe the dollars to certain people, but the way it functions, how you can operate out of this office this day, or you're traveling, so you just bop into another one there, and it's kind of a seamless transition that you're in and out of the network. All you need is a place to sit. All you need is a desk. Is that more what we're looking at here with the IT, or is this strictly that somebody really just dropped the ball?
I don't think it's an oversight thing, because they clearly have the capability to provide that security measure for like the people in the building.
Yeah.
Like they can.
And they've been alerted of the problem.
Yeah, and they're aware of it. But like the fact that their passwords are like, their passwords, which I can't say, is just as bad as using the word password for like your credentials. It's almost as bad as that.
Yeah.
And they have it as the same one for every single location. And that's also another like concern, is that like companies always have like a fear of like insider threats, right? Like they don't just let anyone come on the Wi-Fi. Like I can't just walk into like another office building and just get on the Wi-Fi, but they're worried about insiders who are like leaking that information out. At WeWork, anyone can be an insider, because I can pay for a desk for an hour for $25, and I can come in and I can just scan like their Wi-Fi for like an hour and see what I get out of that, and then just leave. And it like as if I was working at all of these startups, because they're all on the same network and they don't have any kind of like security measures on their Wi-Fi network to prevent that. So I don't think it's an oversight, because they sell these features. Like they clearly are capable of doing it.
Yeah. And it also, something I feel like you say often in security is that you can tell a lot about a company's dedication to security and a lot of things by what they have as their default. And their default speaks for itself here.
Yeah, which is nothing.
And
it's like the default is even lower than like the average standard, because like I think of hotels a lot where like they have like client isolation. I asked if this was something really hard to do, and a security researcher I talked to had mentioned like This is pretty simple stuff. Like, this is like a toggle, like when you set up the Wi-Fi. Like, do I want to do client isolation? Like, yes. And they don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really hope nobody ever figures out that our password is Chaley Darge 123.
Still better than WeWork's password.
Yan wants to know if WeWork's Wi-Fi issues are easily solvable. I feel like you've kind of covered this.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that they can do that like are simple fixes. I mean, part of the challenge could be that, you know, they have so many buildings and they can't have like a security staff for each one of them.
Yeah.
But they absolutely should. I mean, they have physical security staff there as well.
Yeah.
And it's like a very simple thing to do. Other things they could do is like set up a firewall to block out like rogue access points. There's another co-working space that's a lot more popular in the UK that I can't remember the name of right now, but there, like, you have to register every device that comes on the network, and they have their own like password and login for that kind of thing.
Right.
Way more secure than what WeWork is doing, where it's just we're just gonna have a one Wi-Fi network for everybody.
Yeah.
Another really simple thing they could do is change the password for each location. That's not difficult at all. Like, if you have set up your Wi-Fi network at home, like, you can do this for WeWork.
Yeah.
It is kind of astonishing how simple the solutions would be. That being said, as of your piece today, has WeWork changed anything yet?
They haven't gotten back to me about it, but I also know that the researcher that brought this to our attention told them 4 years ago. He kept telling them every year since then. Nothing has changed. I'm planning on like checking back in a week or so, like just going to the WeWork and seeing if the password still works.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out.
Shout out to Timothy for all your great contributions to this conversation. I have a feeling you have a bit of a background in IT and wireless management. Before we close the book on this conversation, are there any alternatives out there for WeWorkers to using that office Wi-Fi?
Use a VPN. That's really the best advice I can give you. So your traffic will, you know, not be like as exposed on the network. The problem with that, though, for a lot of people is that VPNs have notoriously slowed down your traffic. And the company that I had spoken with there, they are a media company where they're constantly like live streaming videos or like music to radio stations, and they can't afford that kind of slowdown.
Yeah.
And lastly, does a 90-day grace period for these findings go into effect, similar to how Apple and Google bugs, and then after that 90-day grace period is up, is it open season for security hacks? How does that really work?
So the 90-day stuff is more of like a courtesy. I know what you're talking about. So you give them like 90 days to fix it before you go public with it. So for us, like, they had known about it for 4 years, so well past that limit. There's no like strict law or requirement like saying like you have to wait 90 days. Sometimes if the vulnerability is urgent enough, they'll just go out and like publish it saying like, please patch your stuff right now. That happened with Fortnite after Google had discovered a vulnerability with the way its installer was working on the website. And the thing is, they could have given them 90 days to fix it, but that is a lot of people downloading Fortnite in that time. So this was like peak Fortnite season too. So Google just straight up went public. It was like, hey, do not download Fortnite off of this website. Like, this is a warning to everybody. The folks at Fortnite, I think it's like Epic Games or something.
No, it's not Epic. Or is it? I can't remember.
Yeah,
I
think
it is Epic Games, actually.
Yeah, they got really mad about it, where they were just like, we were going to fix this. What the hell? But the thing is that, you know, a lot of people would have been affected during that time if they had not gone public with it.
Yeah, and the wrinkle of that is because Fortnite specifically decided not to go to the Android App Store.
They thought that's why they went public with it. I mean, which it easily could be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in other cases, it takes a really long time. Like a few weeks ago with the iOS vulnerabilities that had been going on back in February. Apple fixed that in like 7 days, but we didn't know about it until like the end of August. So like sometimes like the 90-day stuff is really like arbitrary. It's very much more of just like a guideline kind of thing. I don't know. Like, there's no rule to it, but like most people would like try to give 90 days for that kind of thing after disclosure.
If anybody wants to learn more about the Samsung Galaxy Fold, we do have links to Jessica's first observations and a video review in the show notes, so feel free to pass along to that. In the meantime, we are going to switch gears over to the Impossible Burger. Joan, what has been the response? Now, I've been eager to try one out of just sheer curiosity. It looks good. I hear great things from my friends, word of mouth. A lot of reviews are raving. A lot of them are just kind of meh. I haven't heard a lot of terribly negative reviews. What has been the overall audience consensus, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, or not, to the Impossible Burger?
I think generally the response to the most recent new burger has been that it's the most like actual meat that a fake meat has ever really tasted before. And I think most people, whether or not you like the taste or you like the health aspects or you dislike the health aspects or you, whatever your take on all the context around the Impossible Burger, I think most people agree that it's the thing that tastes most like real meat that isn't actually meat that's come along yet.
And you say taste, but we should also probably clarify that there's something to be said about texture too, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I'm a vegetarian, so I haven't had meat in a really long time. But when I have eaten it, I've eaten it a few times. And every time I'm like, this tastes like a burger, at least the burgers I remember from decades ago. Have you had it?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I kind of want one, but yeah, like I said, the Burger King era just like smacked me. So like, I'm good. I'll just try this another
I actually
time.
just had one this weekend.
What y'all doing for lunch today?
Yeah, maybe we can go out for lunch.
I cooked my food. But
It's
if
all
you wanna bring
and
me
it's
a
all
burger-
vegetables.
Most of it is.
It's all plant-based, so I guess that means vegetables. Yeah.
Yeah, I've really wanted to try one, but I haven't gotten out to any of the fast food joints that serve them. I would rather try to prepare it at home.
Actually, so one thing I wanted to bring, so I pulled up nutrition information because we were talking about that. So that might, I don't know if that's a question that people want to know, but since we're talking about it here. So we talked about sodium. There's definitely more sodium in an Impossible Burger than there is in ground beef. That's mostly because you add sodium to ground beef to make it salty. It doesn't come with it packed in. So like 4 ounces of the Impossible Burger has 370 milligrams of sodium. That's like 16% of your daily value by whatever, what the USDA says your daily value should be. So 16% versus regular ground beef for 4 ounces, it's 75 milligrams. That's 3%. So it's more.
16%.
It's more, but like the saturated fat is about the same. I mean, for ground beef and for this, like saturated fat is like 43% for ground beef. For this, it's 40%. So yeah, it's saltier than ground beef. And if you put any salt in your ground beef, then that makes it saltier.
I'm waiting for the day that like all these like fake meats end up like vapes where they're whoa, these are actually dangerous for us. We gotta ban them all immediately. And then all those like Impossible Burger shops are like, oh well, our business is ruined.
Yeah. We'll see if that happens. The things that's like, there's less going on in this that's like weird and like untested than like genetic, like where you're making like meat in a like cultured meat where you take like the DNA from a feather and you create chicken. Like that's a little bit more untested. Like this stuff, it's like it's pea protein with some other like
The vegetable, right?
that would be one of those
Okay.
vegetables that you've been raving about. Yeah. So like it is stuff that's existed in nature and continues to exist in nature. But I guess feathers exist in nature.
And this is also true.
We always compare it to traditional beef, but let's go ahead and put the two alternatives, pit them side by side between the Impossible Burger and the Beyond Burger. How do they stack up health-wise? And can you differentiate what the makeup of either one is and why a certain audience would drift towards one or the other?
I don't know the nutrition side by side. I'm looking it up actually right now. I can talk to the taste though. I've tried both the Beyond Burger and the new Impossible Burger. And the new Impossible Burger is better. It tastes better. Beyond Burger is fine. It tastes good for somebody that doesn't eat meat. It tastes like fine. I'm used to like veggie burgers. Being
Yeah, I was
things that
gonna say
don't
like,
taste
how does it
meat.
compare to like actual veggie burgers, like a black bean burger or like a mushroom burger?
I mean, like a mushroom burger always tastes like mushrooms, and a black bean burger always tastes like black beans. Like
Yeah.
Like they taste
But,
like what they are. Yeah.
If the three of them were on a menu, like which one would you order?
If it was like a veggie patty, like if it was a black bean burger, Impossible Burger, or a Beyond Burger.
Oh no, or like a mushroom burger or something.
Wait, what's the question?
Like if all
I'm really
three-
hungry already,
If all
so-
three were offered, like which one would you like?
Which are the three?
Yeah.
Which are the three?
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
of them?
sorry. The Impossible Burger, the black bean burger, and like a mushroom burger.
Oh, I would probably have an Impossible Burger just because I
Oh.
can make my own black bean burgers.
This is true.
Like, and mushroom burgers, and I have in the past. Yeah, but like I think for me the calculus is just kind of like what I'm in the mood for. Like none of those three would I disqualify by virtue of anything. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just kind of like what I'm feeling that day.
Isn't the Beyond based on beets? Isn't that what their big gimmick was, that it bleeds, but it's kind of like beet
Yeah.
protein or something? Or
Yeah,
beet
they
juice?
use it's not based on beets, but it uses beet juice as a way to have that sort of like ruddy red looking color to it.
So I actually tried looking up a recipe for the Beyond Burger one time because I was really curious back, this is probably a year plus ago. Tried to make it at home, it failed with flying colors.
I remember that. I remember the photo you showed us.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was my failure, not any failure of the food stuff itself.
Also, I feel like if you can't eat a like fake meat burger unless it has blood, I'm like, you're weird, dude. That's like a weird like selling point for you. What the hell, man? Just eat a normal burger.
I mean, veggie burgers are delicious too. I love a good black bean burger once in a while. I just thought it would be fun to try, and I was bored as hell. I don't remember when it was, but I had nothing else to do for a weekend, so I spent 4 hours wasting ingredients in the kitchen.
But this isn't like anything about the taste. I think it's just like I'm imagining somebody shopping for like veggie burgers and seeing like, well, this one has blood on it. And I'm like, I'm gonna eat this. I'm like, that's a weird like selling point. I don't understand why somebody would do that.
It is, and it sounds a little morbid on paper, but I think it's more about, again, going back to that texture and like a juiciness that you don't get with a traditional veggie burger that tend to be a little bit, not always dry, but because that has a bit of a negative connotation, but crunchier, crispier, a little more crumbly, as opposed to something that's, fleshy. There's no nice way to describe this situation, so we're just gonna have to live with it. We are almost out of time though, so let's address a couple of things. Any update on the flavors available by Impossible Food?
I think right now they just have beef. They're working on other sorts of
Doritos, Mountain Dew.
Good night, everybody.
They're working on other kinds of meat, but I think that it's just beef. It's just a beef game for them at this point.
And for those out there interested, is the Impossible Burger kosher?
I believe it is because of I'm not an expert on kosher, but I believe that in terms of meat, kosher requires like certain slaughter techniques and that sort of thing. So I believe because it's plant-based protein and there's no slaughtering involved, I believe it like just kind of circumvents all the rules of kosherness. So it's kind of like kosher by default, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
Not sure.
Sally over here, co-producer of the show, she's backing it up. She says it is kosher.
Okay, there you go.
So just to clarify. Good question, though, and great questions all around to everybody here today. Reminder, this is our Thursday is our Friday, so we're done for the week. Also news, we are going to be taking next week off. We have a lot of scheduling conflicts. It's going to be busy. We got bodies out of the office and out of the studio, namely me, so go ahead and blame me, but we are taking all of next week off, so we're not doing the audio show, we're not doing the video stream. We'll try to stay active on Twitter as much as we can, but we will be coming back the Monday following in early October, so apologies for inconveniencing anybody who is really desperate to hear our voices every single day. We'll miss you too. But anyways, have a wonderful weekend, have a wonderful next week. We'll see you a week from Monday, and thanks for joining us, Joan.
Yeah, thanks for all your questions. If you enjoyed the show, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. We are live every weekday morning here on YouTube, Periscope, and CNET.com. Also, you can subscribe to our audio podcast, as well as a new and improved Supercharge extended podcast. They're both on pretty much every podcast platform that's out there. Links to all of these are in the description below. For the Daily Charge, I'm Joni Salzman.
I'm Alfred Ng.
Thanks for joining us.
Can't get enough? Check out the Daily Supercharge, our extended post show with special features, audience Q&A, and in-depth reviews. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.